Everybody wants it, including our kids. Some schools are even allowing our kids to use their phones during class. So what exactly is that doing to our children? We bring in school psychologist Dr. Kate Roberts to explain. It's so funny that you're here because we just ran a story this morning having to do with nomophobia, which is a fear that adults have of losing their phone. They'd rather lose their wallet, their wedding ring, their keys than the phone. We're a group of people who haven't been plugged in our whole lives. So when you start at an age where from the very beginning they're getting screen time, they're having these gadgets, what does that do to these kids?
I mean, I think it's impossible for them to regulate. They don't have good self-regulation anyway. Because
what do you mean by regulate?
Like, be able to monitor the usage. Their brains aren't developed, so that part of the brain, the frontal lobe, that monitors for adults isn't available for children. So that's why adults need to be the executors, need to be the authority. And if it's a free-for-all with technology, it's not going to happen.
Even if you're not talking about keeping them away from adult sites or things that could be dangerous or scary to them, what's interesting to me is the fact that we're texting and Snapchatting more than we're having face-to-face conversations. What does that do to the development of human connection in the next generation?
It breaks it down. It doesn't make socialization a value. You know, everything is virtual, everything is in shorthand, and children aren't learning basic social skills.
What's so interesting to me, too, is you see a lot of children who have the iPads, and there's maybe a video of them. A lot of kids are now looking at these videos over and over again and mimicking themselves instead of mimicking Mickey Mouse or Barbie, a cartoon character, or their favorite Nickelodeon. It's just really interesting to me that you are reinforcing a movie of you, and you might say, when you start to sing a part of that video, it's you singing and not someone else. Are we creating a small army of narcissists here, or am I overthinking that this could be harmful?
I think if that's overdone, you're right. It is a very self-centered way of approaching things. And socialization for young children is paramount. It's how people navigate in the world. And if we're not teaching them those skills, then when are they going to learn them?
And yet, there is a validity to having this technology in the classroom. Having, you know, there was a time where textbooks would be outdated. Now you go online, you have the latest information about everything. So how do you walk that line as a parent, as an educator, to say, this is a tool, it is useful in certain applications, but I don't want it taking over your life, when we don't even necessarily have a good handle on that?
I think the word tool is paramount. I think that it's a balance between let's get these kids thinking, let's get them using their brain, and when they need the tool, we have it in technology. It's great, but we can't rely on it, and it's not a substitute for socialization, for critical thinking, and all the other things that we need to learn.
You know, smoking rates are down. There are smoke-free zones at high schools and at colleges and that sort of thing. Should there be a no technology zone where you
absolutely
you really think so? Because this,
in every house, definitely in the school. I mean, it's a tool. It shouldn't be used for socializing or entertainment in school. That's just wrong.
I know that the World Health Organization says no screen time before the age of 2.
Right.
We don't yet know what having these gadgets is doing to the brains of children. I mean, it just hasn't been around that long.
We don't have longitudinal studies, and I think a lot of people who are in the field directly, like myself, really are more conservative than that. Not before the age of 5. I mean, what's the point?
Really?
You know, oh yeah, they need to get out of the virtual world, you know, in the real world, experience real things before they can move on to virtual things.
You know, there's a commercial, a PSA that's on television nowadays where the kids are playing video games, and then all of a sudden the power goes out and they decide they'll go outside, and you see mom's holding the extension cord. She had unplugged everything. I mean, how do parents set these boundaries? Should it be, you know, just like we did with TV when kids were younger, you know, only 2 hours a day or only a certain amount of time a day, and then you have to go outside and play?
I absolutely think so. I think there's a few things. One is knowledge. Make sure you know what's going on for technology. Understand it. The second one is limit and manage it. And the third one is intervene if it's not working out. You have to get up in front of it. You can't be behind it.
Can some of these things, if you're constantly plugged in, do you start to see addictive patterns in the same way that you would see with other addictive behaviors?
Absolutely. I liken it to the obesity epidemic in children. You know, the overuse of sugar before we were aware. Okay, now we're not aware on technology. You know, maybe 1 or 2 generations down the road, we're going to have an epidemic of technology addicts.
It's fascinating. We've just scratched the surface here. Where can people find out more about you?
At www.dr drkateroberts.com. So it's drkateroberts.com.
And Dr. Kate Roberts, thanks for joining us this morning.
My
Melissa, over to
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Well, we are kicking off our college.